Ukraine tonight is in a full-scale fight to take back Russian-occupied land.
Hi, Richard. Good to see you again. How are you?
A pivotal moment for our interview with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the presidential compound in Kyiv.
This must be a very critical time for you.
Critical and very busy.
For over a year, Ukraine has been fighting successfully to defend itself. Now, going on the offensive to break through Russian front lines is proving to be challenging.
We are now in the early days of this long-anticipated counteroffensive. How's it going?
I cannot give you all the details. There are both defensive and offensive actions. Things look not bad. I would say it's generally positive, but it's difficult. Our heroic people, our troops, who are now at the front of the front line, are facing very tough resistance. And you understand why. Because for Russia to lose this campaign to Ukraine, I would say, actually means losing the war.
President Zelenskyy also had a dire warning. He blamed Russia for blowing up a dam, which Russia denies, flooding dozens of villages, and tells us the next Russian target is the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Russia does want to blow up the station.
Why would they want to do that?
Because, like with the dam, they are not interested in Ukraine's security. They always need instability here and want the world to pressure Ukraine to stop the conflict.
He says Russia is getting desperate as more Western military aid is coming. Today, the U.S. and other allies agreed to train Ukrainian pilots to operate F-16s, but it's still unclear when they'll arrive and how many.
You've been talking about planes since day one. I remember seeing you the very early days of the war in this building, in the basement. Now they're somewhere in the pipeline. What has been the effect of having weapons rolled out like this, given slice by slice over time?
It's prolonged the war. If we are supplied with the machinery that is currently held by our partners, we will win faster.
In many ways, this country's very survival depends on the assistance of the United States, other allies, and several Republican presidential candidates are expressing concerns about support for Ukraine. What would you say to them?
What would I say? Is any candidate or senator who thinks it costs too much for the United States to support Ukraine, is he ready to go to war, to fight, to send his kids? Are they ready to die? Because anyway, they will have to do this if NATO gets involved. And anyway, if Ukraine would lose, if Russia would occupy Ukraine, Russia will continue going towards Baltic countries, Poland, etc. They will start war with one of the NATO countries. And at this moment, the United States will have to choose the collapse of NATO or go to war.
And Tom, one thing that struck me was that President Zelenskyy said, yes, they're fighting Russian troops. They're fighting them in this country, on the ground. It's a tough fight. But he said they are keeping one eye on the United States political situation. And I asked him, do you feel like you're fighting on a U.S. timeline? Is that imposed on you? And he said, yes. And I hadn't heard a wartime leader say that kind of thing, that they're fighting their enemy, but they have to also adhere to the political time frame imposed by their key allies. It may be true in many conflicts around the world, but it's rare that you hear somebody say it so openly. And I think it shows also how dependent this country really is on the flow of weapons, the flow of money, the support of political support from the United States.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.